Operations. Online activation with dongle or trusted platform module TPM. Guidelines. Before we begin outlining the workflows, please keep these important guidelines in mind. Detailed information is provided on the topic Dongles and Trusted Platform Module TPM in the introduction chapter of this learning. Here you can also find information about supported dongle and supported TPM versions and how to perform the verification. Either dongles or a valid TPM chip is required for this type of activation. With this type of activation, the license write through a certificate will be fixed linked to the dongle or TPM chip. During activation, a certificate is generated in the form of a license file with the extension .lic and stored in the defined backup location. This certificate is permanently bound to the dongle or TPM chip. The tool supports the use of multiple dongles. With this license file and the associated dongle, licensing can be performed on any computer. When activating with TPM chip, the license is valid only on the computer where the licensing was performed. Activations with dongle are possible on all environments, trusted and untrusted. Activations with TPM chip are only possible on physical machines, not on virtual computers. Please note, the license activation with dongle or TPM is irreversible. Once the license file is created, this process cannot be undone. Dongle activation with Entitlement ID. The prerequisites for any online activation with dongle or trusted platform module are: an internet connection is required and the connectivity to the back-office license server is tested. A valid dongle is plugged into the machine, or the computer has a valid TPM chip. An email of the license ordering is present at the customer site, or for Siemens employees the information is also available via LMS cockpit. For activation of licenses, the tool offers the possibility to use either the Entitlement ID information or Activation IDs. The workflow with Entitlement ID offers the advantage that only one ID needs to be copied from the license email and pasted into the tool, and that by subsequently retrieving the licenses from the back-office server, only the Activation IDs, still available, are displayed in the tool. We are now performing the activation with the Entitlement ID. In the tool, the page activatable items and the node Entitlement ID in dongle activation are selected. Now we need the email of the license ordering. Each license email contains one Entitlement ID and represents the license model in the product that a customer has bought with quantity. Each entitlement can contain one or more products. In our example, the entitlement contains 6 product articles. Each article has an own Activation ID. Select the Entitlement ID and copy it. Paste the ID in the field Entitlement ID and click on the button Retrieve Entitlement. The status bar shows the process flow. The information in the operation pane changes and the radio button for dongle activation is selected per default and displays the dongle ID in case a valid dongle is plugged in. This machine has also a valid TPM chip and therefore the ID of the chip is also displayed. At this point you have the choice between the two options, activation with dongle or TPM chip. We keep the default selection, the activation with dongle. In the View pane, all products of this entitlement are listed in the Activate line items in detail, including activation IDs, version, expiration, the number of purchased, remaining and installed quantity. And at the end, the part numbers. The tool offers the possibility to activate the different elements individually, in groups or all together. As soon one of the products is selected, the Activate License button is enabled to perform the activation process. By selecting this checkbox, all products will be selected at once, or reverse deselected at once. When a product was purchased in a quantity higher than 1, in our example 3 clients were purchased, it is possible to activate a subset of it by changing the number of install count in case not all counts are to be activated. Another use case could be not selecting the Start feature set product, because it is not activated until shortly before project delivery. In the operation pane, there is the possibility to select a specific start date. If the start date is not given, it immediately activates the license. In our case, we select all elements, keep the actual date as start date for all elements, the install count for the client is 1, keep or select the option of dongle activation and perform the activation by clicking on the button Activate License. With this, we bind the licenses to the dongle and create the certificates. Exactly this process is irreversible. We execute it. With this window pop up, I have the last chance to stop the process. We confirm with OK, and the status bar shows the online activation performance. Finally, a window pops up confirming the successful operation. In the view pane, one product is left because in this product the license of 2 remaining clients have not been activated yet. In the title bar we can see 2 changes. The customer site ID and the subscription expiration date is now displayed. After activation, we find the licenses on the page Licensed Products pane. By opening the tree in the navigation pane, all installed products are visible. We do the same in the View pane, in the Licensed Products page. The single products are indicated with the C symbol, which means that this is a certificate license, and the trust flag has the status certificate, and in the column before the ID of the dongle is displayed with a green dot. A green dot appears for each certificate license, if the dongle assigned for this license is plugged into the machine. Further, we have the following information: activation IDs, issued date, what date the license is started on, the expiration, the CSID number, and that the CSID is enforced. This is the reason why the CSID is displayed in the title pane. By clicking on the small arrow, even more information of the product in question will appear. In the Licensed Products page, there are also the buttons Expand, Collapse, Create License Report does create a report in TXT format, and the Refresh button helps to retrieve the newest update from the back office server. In case of failures or red market fields, the consistency check can be used to deliver structured and formatted error messages for each feature. The message contains feature name, version, and rule which has caused the failure, including all dependent features. More information is available in the help document. TPM activation with Entitlement ID. When using a TPM chip, you need to know the following. If the license is bound to a TPM chip that is permanently installed in the computer, the license is bound to the corresponding machine. Activations with TPM chip are only possible on physical machines, not on virtual computers. What is the difference between dongle and TPM activation in terms of workflow? We would like to show that here and return to the beginning. The process for activation via TPM chip is practically identical. We have again copied the entitlement ID from the email and paste it back into the field. We start again to retrieve the different items. But now in the operation pane we select the option with TPM by clicking the radio button. The fact that an ID is displayed here shows that we are dealing with a valid TPM chip. In our case, we select again all elements, keep the actual date as start date for all elements, and perform the activation by clicking on the button Activate License. With this, we bind the licenses to the TPM chip and create the certificates. Exactly this process is irreversible. We execute it. With this window pop up, we have the last chance to stop the process. We confirm with OK, and the status bar shows the online activation performance. Finally, a window pops up confirming the successful operation. In the title bar we can see 2 changes. The customer site ID and the subscription expiration date is now displayed. After activation, we find the licenses on the page Licensed Products pane. By opening the tree in the navigation pane, all installed products are visible. We do the same in the View pane, in the Licensed Products page. The single products are indicated with the C symbol, which means that this is a certificate license, and the trust flag has the status certificate, and in the column Dongle ID is displayed that the TPM ID is used. Further, we have the following information: activation IDs, issued date, what date the license is started on, the expiration, the CSID number, and that the CSID is enforced. This is the reason why the CSID is displayed in the title pane. By clicking on the small arrow, even more information of the product in question will appear. In the Licensed Products page, there are also the buttons Expand, Collapse, Create License Report does create a report in TXT format, and the Refresh button helps to retrieve the newest update from the back office server. The tooltip shows which TPM ID is assigned to the certificate. This can be helpful if the activation with TPM was used at a customer where different clients exist. In case of failures or red market fields, the consistency check can be used to deliver structured and formatted error messages for each feature. The message contains feature name, version, and rule which has caused the failure, including all dependent features. More information is available in the help document. Dongle activation with Activation ID. The prerequisites for any online activation with dongle or trusted platform module are: an internet connection is required and the connectivity to the back office license server is tested. A valid dongle is plugged into the machine, or the computer has a valid TPM chip. An email of the license ordering is present at the customer site, or for Siemens employees the information is also available via LMS cockpit. We are now performing the other operation supported by this tool, the activation with the Activation ID. For the online activation with dongle or TPM, the workflow with the use of the Entitlement ID showed just before is the recommended and more convenient workflow. Let's assume that for a project the customer has a larger group of employees who will work with the product and needs multiple licenses. A large purchase order has been made, which contains all the elements with quantities. Also, in this case the email of the license ordering contains one Entitlement ID with a larger list of products and activation IDs. The person responsible for the distribution of licenses to the customer employees can now deliver to each employee the elements necessary for his purposes with the activation IDs. In the tool, the page activatable items and the node activation ID in dongle activation are selected. The operation pane is different to what we have seen with the Entitlement ID and shows now an activation ID field and an additional field called install count. This field installed count can be used if not all counts are to be activated. And the radio button is set as dongle or TPM. Now we need the email of the license ordering. Each license email contains one Entitlement ID and represents the license model and the product that a customer has bought with quantity. Each entitlement can contain one or more products. For our purpose we use 3 products: the standard feature set, the client, and the electrical data points. Each activation ID for each product must be copied individually and entered in LMU individually before the whole list can be activated. Paste the copied activation ID of the first product in the field Activation ID. Also here, it is possible to select a specific start date, but we use the current date again. Now choose whether the license should be bound to a dongle or TPM. In our case we show the workflow with the dongle option. By clicking the button Add Activation ID, the product appears in the Activate Line Items page, and it also shows that it is intended to bind it to a dongle with the specific dongle ID. We repeat this workflow also with the 2 remaining products. The client product was ordered in a quantity of 3. In the actual case we need only 1 to be activated. After pasting the activation ID, in the install count field we just change the default setting from all to 1, in this case. The view pane now shows 3 products to be licensed, where it is foreseen that they will be bound to the dongle. By pressing the Activate License button we would execute the licensing. Exactly this process is also here irreversible. Nevertheless, we execute it and the status bar shows the online activation performance. Also in this case, a window pops up confirming the successful operation. The CSID is showing the customer site ID and the subscription expiration date is displayed. Let's change to licensed products, where the 3 licensed products are visible. The tool behaves now the same as when licensing by Entitlement ID and offers the same features we have already learned. TPM activation with Activation ID. What is the difference between dongle and TPM activation? The difference between these two options was explained with the workflow for activation with Entitlement ID and applies in this case as well. Remove of certificate. Licenses can have different expiration dates. From none, that is permanent, until a certain expiration date, as is usually the case with engineering licenses. This case shows an engineering license that expired on March 30, 2021, and is therefore marked red in the expiration column, even though the matching dongle is plugged in the machine and shows a green dot. This license is therefore invalid. To have a clearer overview in the LMU tool, expired or no longer needed licenses can be removed. To delete a license, select Settings, then the node Maintenance in the navigation pane and open the Expired Licenses expander. If the expired licenses are not listed here, it is recommended to update them with the Refresh button. Select the license or licenses to be removed, click on the button Delete. The status bar shows the process, and as a final result, the license or licenses will disappear. In the Licensed Products page, after clicking on the button Refresh, the page will be updated. Export of certificate. Certificate export is the allowed workflow to copy certificates. Please do not copy certificates from the backup folder but use this export function to copy certificate files, because when exporting the files, information is attached to the certificate file that is necessary for further use. Use cases to export certificate files can be when the target machine does not have an internet connection for license activation and the certificate files must first be created on a machine with internet connections, or if licenses bound to the dongle are used on other machines. In the Licensed Products page, select the license or licenses to export. Select the radio button Certificate Export, and click on the button Execute. Select the folder where the copy is to be created and confirm with by clicking Save. A pop-up window confirms the successful operation. The license or licenses remains unchanged in the tool. And in the folder, we find a copy of the license. This can now be copied to the target machine and imported there using the function Import Certificate. This workflow will be explained later. Retrieve of certificate. Dongle licenses can be retrieved by plugging in the dongle in the machine and using the Retrieve Dongle Licenses feature in LMU. All non-expired licenses tied to this specific dongle will be retrieved. TPM licenses can be retrieved by using the Retrieve TPM Licenses feature in LMU. The button Retrieve TPM Licenses is only enabled in case a valid TPM chip is installed on the machine and the TPM ID is displayed automatically on the Activation ID dialog box in Activatable Items. Only non-expired certificates that have been activated with this TPM chip are retrieved. The Retrieve Licenses feature allows you to retrieve the licenses from the back-office license server. Typical use cases are when the operating system crashes and needs to be reinstalled, or in case of dongle licensing, when the computer is defect and needs to be replaced. But also, when there are simply no copies of the licenses, and the product needs to be licensed again. In these cases, the certificate file or files can be retrieved and reinstalled on the machine. The Licensed Products page shows here that no licenses are activated. Select the navigation page Support and the node Retrieve Licenses in License Management Support. For the dongle use case, you must first plug in the dongle, and this will reveal the dongle ID in the operation pane and enable the button Retrieve Dongle Licenses. By clicking the Retrieve Dongle Licenses button, the corresponding licenses are retrieved from the back-office license server and displayed in the View pane. Now select the licenses you want to license and click the Activate Licenses button. A window pops up confirms the successful operation. In the page Licensed Products, under Licensed Products the licensing is apparent and consequently has been successfully executed. For the TPM use case, the button Retrieve TPM licenses is only enabled in case a valid TPM chip is installed on the machine. By clicking the Retrieve TPM licenses button, the corresponding licenses are retrieved from the back-office license server and displayed in the View pane. Now select the licenses you want to license and click the Activate Licenses button. A window pop-up confirms the successful operation. In the page Licensed Products, under Licensed Products the licensing is apparent and consequently has been successfully executed.